Before the packed stadiums, before the roaring chants, before the money, the trophies, and the legends, there was nothing. No football. No rules. No referees. No goals. There were just humans and a ball. This isn't the story you've heard 1,000 times. This is the story of how a simple, chaotic game quietly became the most powerful sport on earth. And once it started, there was no stopping it. Long before football had a name, humans were already playing it. In ancient China, soldiers kicked a leather ball filled with feathers, not for fun, but to stay fit for war. In ancient Greece, the game was a free-for-all. Players used their feet, their hands, and brute force. There were no limits. When it reached Rome, the game became even more brutal. It was violent, fiercely competitive. Imagine a field with no boundaries, where the only objective was a beautiful play, but pure dominance. Entire villages would play against other villages, towns against towns. The stakes were high. Sometimes people got seriously injured, and sometimes people didn't make it home. Back then, football wasn't entertainment. It was a raw display of survival. By the Middle Ages, football had spiraled into something dangerous. Picture this: an entire town, hundreds of people, chasing a single pig's bladder through narrow streets, across open farms, and even through rivers. There were no teams in the modern sense, no time limits, just one simple rule: get the ball to your side of town by any means necessary. It was pure chaos. Kings tried to ban it. The church condemned it as a devilish distraction. City officials feared it. And why? Because when this game was being played, everything else in society stopped. Work stopped, order stopped. The powerful lost their control, and that absolutely terrified them. Then, everything changed. The shift happened in England, not with more chaos, but with the introduction of structure. During the 1800s, prestigious schools and universities started asking a revolutionary question: what if we gave this game some rules? This was a turning point. Different schools came up with their own versions. Some allowed players to use their hands, others strictly forbade it. Arguments were constant. Different factions broke away, and then one meeting in London changed history forever. In 1863, a group of men gathered in a pub. They had no idea at the time, but they were about to create a clear dividing line, separating football from every other ball game. In that meeting, handling the ball was banned. A clear set of rules was written down on paper. Football, as we know it, was officially born. It was no longer chaos. It was a system. But this new, organized game didn't belong to the elite who wrote the rules. It belonged to the working class. It was embraced by factory workers, dock workers, and miners. These were people who worked long, hard hours, and all they needed for an escape was a ball, a bit of open space, and a deep sense of pride. Football clubs began forming in local neighborhoods, and soon, rivalries became a core part of a community's identity. Football transformed from just a game into something much more profound. It was an escape from the daily grind. It was a source of belonging. It was a voice for the voiceless. For the very first time, ordinary people had something powerful that was truly their own. And from these local communities, the game began its global journey. Sailors carried footballs on their ships. Workers took the game with them as they migrated for jobs. The British Empire, without even intending to, spread it across the globe. Football landed in South America, in Africa, and all across Europe, basically everywhere ships could reach. But something amazing happened. Each country didn't just adopt the game, they adapted it and made it their own. Brazil transformed it into an art form full of flair and beauty. Italy made it a tactical chess match. England kept its physical, tough tackling roots. Argentina infused it with raw, unbridled passion. It was the same game, but it was being played 1,000 different ways. And for the first time, the entire world was watching each other play. The next step was inevitable. From a simple ball game, an empire was built. Massive stadiums rose from the ground. Professional leagues were formed. International competitions became the ultimate test of skill and nerve. When the very first World Cup was played in 1930, something became crystal clear. Football wasn't just a sport anymore. It had become a vessel for politics, a symbol of national identity, and a source of immense national pride. Wars have literally paused for it. Dictators have used it for propaganda. Millions upon millions of people have cried tears of joy and sorrow over it. A simple leather ball now carried the hopes, dreams, and emotions of entire nations. So, why did football succeed where so many other games faded away? It survived bans. It survived centuries of violence. It survived and thrived. Why? The answer is in its beautiful simplicity. Anyone can play it, almost anywhere. All you really need is something to kick, and that's the key. Once humans started kicking a ball, they simply never wanted to stop. It's an instinct. The world didn't consciously choose football. In a way, football chose the world. And everything you see today, the global superstars, the billion-dollar deals, the incredible drama, the madness, it all started with one single kick in a world that had no idea what it had just created. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.